Hey, it's Shay Seeking, and I'm back with part three of this freestyle of This Is Not Your Mama's Bible Study. And we're going to be in Genesis chapter 1. And if anybody is not uh, reading their Bibles somewhat like this by breaking down things and seeing exactly what's being said, instead of just reading the things at face value or on the surface, you are missing out on an abundance. Like, it's almost thinking about like somebody making some greens and all they use is just a piece of garlic, no seasoning. And you know, reading it, like breaking down and flipping over everything and looking really deep into things, and seeing the way that the world works and the hidden hands that's moving around upon the earth. And you have to do a lot of research on a lot of different things at one time in order to get this perception um of seeing things. um so then you're adding in the neck bones. Okay, and then that's a one piece of flavor, and you like, hey, wait a minute, I never knew, this could be this flavorful. Wait, I've been doing it like this the whole time. And then somebody, okay, and this is what I feel like is the knowing or being connected to the source, or just going deep within and coming back out after you've shed all of these worldly views. um is like somebody throwing in the Lowry seasoning and the Tony's seasoning and a couple of other seasonings that people can use to put into the greens, and it's just potent. It's just too powerful. But it's so good. It's so savory. It's so good. And when you're taking it in, sampling it, tasting it, it just does something to you. Just gets all your taste buds and everything going. That's what this is. That's why. And it's so funny that the Living Bible has helped me see better than the most popular book that people usually like to stay in is the King James Version. And that's what we're reading from actually today, but this is a parallel Bible, so it has both. Um that's kind of what it is. That's kind of what it is. It's like the flavor that come with it, but all in all, it is not just the word. The word is the word. It starts from within the vessel. You have to be seeking the face, and then allowing your vessel to take on the workload, even though people are not going to like it, even though you're going to sound like you're crazy, even though some people have given up on the whole system. They have got left the church, left religion, and left the Bible. And I think number three, the Bible is the worst thing you can do. If you woke and you're not reading your Bible, and if you've been taking in all this information, like a lot of people that I have met over the years on Facebook and things, sharing this information about even the indigenous life, and if you've been doing research on the tribes of America, and you're not reading this text, especially the Old Testament, you missing out. This is like the greatest story ever told in reality when you are able to see it like this. It's all the colors, all the things, everything is there. And it's living. So um enough about that, because I'm on start ranting, and that we don't need to do that. So we're on Genesis 17, and this stuff takes time. It seems like we haven't even gone anywhere, but we've talked about so much. So we're on Genesis 1 and 17, and it says, and God said, and I really think, you guys, even if you think you feel like you didn't have a connection to church, or when you were younger, you tried to read the Bible, but you just couldn't. It was just difficult for me. It was because for some reason, even when I just went ahead and said, forget it, this is the way I'm going to read it. If this is the way God made me, and if I'm not a bad person, and I'm just trying to get an understanding, and this is how He wants me to read it, this is the way I'm going to go ahead and read it. This is my spirit is putting on me to go ahead and open up and be free to do this. Okay. So if you feel like that, it may be because you have been set apart, because there were some people that was going to be set apart from that structure in order to not be doctrinated. Because I'm going to tell you now, once you go into a religion, and you've been there for a long time and you're doing everything the mainstream way that they have us doing it because we're being maybe misled, it is the hardest for those particular people to come out of her, to come out of her. Some people may think that the Whore of Babylon is the Vatican or that, but I'm not saying it is. I ain't saying it ain't, is what it could be. So, okay, on that note, um, let's go back into this. And like I said, we're at Genesis 1 and 17, and we are actually reading out of the King James Version for today because I think it'll be easier for me to kind of freestyle and actually be able to. It was actually one of the first books that made me realize that we were probably talking about something else. It was the King James. So we're just going to go ahead and go off of that because most people do read it. And I just want this to hit home for people. So it says, and to rule. Okay, so we have to go back to 1 and read that last sentence so we can know where we're at. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And we just looked at what light mean or illumination. And like I said, there's several different gods in the Bible. And they're speaking at different times to different people. We have to stop with that putting everything in one pot. It's not. I don't know if that, that's how we've been taught to look at it by these people that are supposed to be leading you to uh, um t- th- I hate to just keep using pastors and stuff, but this is what I know because I grew up around the so-called black church or the um Baptist or those particular types of churches. Okay. So what was I going to say? Okay, so yeah, illumination or whatever. So you take it how you want to take it. You can go ahead and look the word back up because we're out of that, and I've already talked about it. I'm not gonna go back into the meaning, but I would prefer you. I mean, I would suggest that you use etymology or any other tools that you have to look it up. Sorry, I don't know. Okay, let's calm down. I just got finished doing a whole bunch of things, and I'm just trying to get back in the mood. Okay, so now we're in Genesis. We're still in 1 and 18. Okay. And it says, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. So now that they've created these people, and we are even seeing like I always like to look at pictures from like the 60s and 70s and see how people's texture of their hair. Mexicans had fros back then. Lots of so-called Caucasians had afros and stuff. And you don't have to follow me here if you don't want to, but what I'm seeing is um that that light is to rule over the dark and the light. And if we really look at things when it even comes to the structure of the way that things are governed in this nation, um it seemed like things were created like it was. And even when you go into politics, you see the faces of these people. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a hidden hand behind this whole thing, and it could be a darker view hand. Okay. There could be some truth to the whole giving over something for a time. I don't know. But when it says to rule over the day and over the night and to divide the light from darkness, that makes me think that there is a power structure that is over all of us, and it is dividing the nation, because in order to conquer the nation, you need to divide it. Okay. And I told you guys before, this is not a race thing. because even old writings, I cannot deny the fact that some people said that there were lighter tribes. But I do believe that it was because the land had been so called penetrated by others at that point in time, and that might have added the element of so called white tribes. And there was only a small amount of them that these writers that came here first and wrote the old books that did not get added to your curriculum in school. They state that there might have been lighter tribes here, but most of the tribes were dark or sometimes black. So so now we have this construct that is over us, that is illuminating us and using tools in order to give us all kind of perceptions of things, news, media, all these other things. There's stars that they have planted in the sky that communicate so much and have something to do with the inaugurations and all these other balls and stuff that they have, one in one with Hollywood. Okay. And all of these people are, those people are also just puppets, but they are used. They're a luminaries. They are something that is hung up over everybody else in order to um, guide or deceive or whatever. They use them for whatever they want. They use Jesse Jackson and all these so-called black lawyers and stuff in order to uh, pump up the whole, black thing. It's just funny when you start just looking at the world for what it is and stop sugarcoating things. Okay. And it says, and these people don't have any regard for um, the so-called white people. If you're someone that has looked into geoengineering and chemtrails and all these other things, and if you look at the pesticides and all the things that are being done, even the immunizations with the children, we do know that they covered up for a long time that some of these shots were harming little black boys at a way higher rate than it was any other people that would be taking these shots, and they knew this, and they were giving these little boys ADD and all other kind of issues, and they knew this, and they kept it under the wraps, and they did not say anything, and millions of little children have been harmed from these immunizations. But there were also white children too. So again, I'm not making this a race thing. I'm just showing you both sides of things. They're not thinking about little white children, so-called white children, when they're spraying things in the air that are, making these little particles of, um, uh, oh, it's skipping my mind for right now. But you guys know barium and all these other things that are in these metals and stuff that are in these things that trickle down onto the surface when they spray these trails. Okay. So they're not thinking about them either. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and then again, when we go to, I'm not pitting one side against each other. And I'm not saying, if anything, I want to be right directly in the middle and show you everything. When we're talking about, I looked up before and I put it up on the channel, the statistics on uh, so-called black people being killed by or lynched before they can get in, even make it to jail or even to get convicted of anything. They were killed off by people or authority. And I read off the numbers for that from like the early, I think it was like from the 17 or 1800s all the way up until the 1900s, 1915 or something like that. And then I went ahead and pulled the statistics because the news and media is showing us one thing. But when I pulled up the statistics, and that's just all it is. I'm just using the information that's provided. And I looked up how many people have been killed by police. And I went ahead and broke it down for this year. I think it was at 440 something so far for this year. But when you go ahead and break it down with the demographics and you look at the races of the people, there were more white people. But we're being told that we are only like 13% of the population, and it's more, white people than so-called black people, because and also when we're using those terms, also other people are underneath those terms, and a lot of times, okay? A lot of times there are other people that um, are choosing, that have the right to self-identify, and they're choosing to be white, or they are listed as white when they come in from different places. So, okay, on that note, the numbers were high for them too. So they're not only killing black people. That's the most important thing to take from it. They're not only killing black people with their forces. They're, killing and harming other people too. Okay. And when you looked at the numbers, it looked like it was more white people. But again, if they're the bigger part of the population, then that would say why. Because once you then look at it that way, then it levels off to still more black people being killed. But, you know, I'm not saying that that's not occurring. I'm just saying that they have a way of influencing or manipulating or taking something and running with it to turn it into something that is us against us. When, to be honest with you, the type of citizen that a police officer or a military veteran or a military person is not the same as you and me. They're the same, but they're not the same. When it comes to the oaths and stuff that they take, it's different. So, and those oaths are not to, they never once say that they're to protect and serve you specifically. They are there to protect and serve the construct that have been the firmament, the people in the firmament that have been set there. So one thing you have to realize is go and try to walk past Beyonce and try to grab her hand or tap her shoulder and say something to her, and you will feel the force. Go and try to say hi and try to shake Obama's hand without having permission, and you will see the force. Go and try to talk to or speak to the Queen of England and get close and see what happens. Do you see what I'm saying? But for some of us, we can, and then some of us in worse neighborhoods and worse off, try and call the police because somebody is choking you to death and see what happens. Okay. And in that instance, you might even be the one that starts getting choked to death by the very people that you thought were, because we took it at face value and we didn't do our research to find out that those things were set up for the protection of that. Don't pay your taxes and see what happens. Okay. Drive and get pulled over without paying your tickets and see what happened. You see what I'm saying? So they are there to keep you in line. We're off the subject, and that's what we do here. Let's just get back on track. If I can. And God saw it was good. Okay, so this is somebody that wanted to divide the light, and you're thinking we're talking about some sky still. After all of these scriptures, all these different sentences, you think we still talking about? Do you really think that? How many times we got to do it? How many times we got to make this and separate and make this and separate? How many times we got to do it? Identify too. I didn't get that one. Sky give light on the earth and to identify. Okay, so here we go. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth. Okay? Fowl that may fly above the earth. And almost, who else got the eagle? Is it France? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and the fowl and fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. So again, y'all been reading this with me. I'm not gonna say what I think, but if you can see it, you can see it. Okay. Because I can't really explain it 100%, so I don't want to even go into it. Maybe I'll do a separate thing on it. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth. Now, out of everything, what? Why would we talk about whales? Out of all the other animals, let me see something. I don't know where my little etymology page went. And God created great whales. Remind me of whales, like wailing, crying. But let's just see. Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Please don't tell me. I think you're telling me that my keyboard died. I know y'all probably seen that earlier. Oh, let's see. Please. Let's see. Okay. Well. Okay, wait. Oh. Okay. So why did we have to use why did we have to use whales as a let's just see. This is alternative view. The alternative view. It doesn't have to be your view. And God let the waters. Okay. And God let the waters. Now, do we really think after we know that NASA, and after we know that other people help with controlling the weather and they can make their own weather and things like this. But that's a little bit off subject. Let the waters. But do you think somebody was talking to the water or moving the water, or somebody is standing over us blowing on the water from the sky or anything like this? I've never seen it in my life. And how can a God that won't let me see these type of wonders, or I got to wait to a certain day, or he has created me, why would he not let me see these particular things happen so that I can believe wholeheartedly from jump? It wouldn't even be a problem. He don't even have to put on a performance for all of us. Maybe just each person individually have something that happens to them once in their life where they know. And I don't mean you not getting hit by a car because you just moved out of the way 5 minutes earlier, or you being harmed in some kind of way where it just was a matter of something that just made it so that you didn't fall down into that hole or something. I'm not talking about that, but God said, let the waters bring forth. Okay. So this God told somebody to let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life. So a moving creature that hath life. This can either be talking about a real creature that is living, but if it's a creature, it would already be living. So why would we have to add the fact that it have life? So you know what this says to me? This moving creature that hath life could also mean something moving somewhere, or bringing somebody or something somewhere that has life. So when we think about this, I can think about a boat, or since we're talking about waters, okay, I can talk about large a moving creature that hath life. Let's see what a creature is. Okay, I'm back at I went back one scripture, okay, in order to see something, because I have to do that sometimes. Okay, okay. Creature, 1300. Anything created. Anything created. So a creature, baby, listen. A creature, great whales. Okay, so no. Let's go back. King James Version, Genesis 1 and 1 and 20. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature. So this is saying, let the water bring something abundantly. So lots of boats, lots of people. Now that they have already created their foundation, they know what they can do in order to conquer the people that they're going to conquer. And they have their doom diverses, and they have all of their other papal bulls and all of their things and their edicts saying that they can come in and conquer and kill all of the pagans and Saracens. And this is why I say be careful when we're talking about pagans, because were you maybe a pagan before somebody made you a Christian? And I'm talking about you, all of you people. And I know, a lot of people don't like to hear this, but I know and I see that there are people of all races that are becoming to be awakened and see things and be able to give um, certain information and interpret different things. And we are maybe the oracles, sages, the messengers, and the people that are going to deliver. Listen to me when I say this. Everything is not what you thought it was. It's not. And even the Bible says that the truth is going to be revealed, and he's going to use his children to bring it forth. So what are you waiting on? Who are you waiting on to come out of the sky? You've never seen anybody on a horse in the sky before. What type of rapture are you waiting for? Is the rapture already occurring? And because you have been given the false perception of what it is, you don't know? Have you been given the false perception of where Israel is? Because it wasn't even a place before 1940 something? And who the people of Israel would be? Have you been given a false perception and have you been have the masses been deceived? You don't have to change the word. All you had to do was change the mind and chain it up so it will not be able to go further than what people don't want to hear. Nobody don't want to change. Nobody want to say they was fooled. Nobody want to say that something may not make sense. And that's you ignoring the voice. That's you ignoring the voice of that said God. So I'm getting off track, y'all, but I just get emotional. I just get and not even emotional, I get passionate, okay? And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that hath life. A creature is anything that is created. So with that, we don't even have to bring forth, produce, beget, to create, to grow. Look at this. Person who owes his rise and fortune to another. What the heck? What do this sound like? What does this sound like? What I was just saying about not honoring the people that you came from and just, and hiding their information so they can't even reach their full potential. That's some dirty stuff. That's some dirt. So is it the work of that particular God? And if it is, that's not, it's not fitting my purpose, and my soul is not leading me in that direction. So that might not be for me. Meaning anything that ministers to man's comforts. What make you comfortable? This is what you going to church every day to get some comfort food, some healing, somebody to speak to you in some kind of way. And I'm not against that, and I'm not talking bad about people. I'm just saying that for me, I see it a different way, and I think that it's time for everybody to wake up. And then look at it, say every creature or thing that is made by this particular God is good. Okay. And use of a creature for whiskey intoxicating drink. Good. So this was good in order to give to the people that was here, in order to you know get you in a state of mind where they was able to use that whiskey and that drink to take everything you had. Some forcibly and some not. Creature, comfort, material, comfort, food, clothing. What did you have to do? Come up out of the clothing and the thing that you were in and come into the way that they wanted us to be. Even to this day, when it comes to so-called Black people, okay, you have to try to fit in and be a certain way, dress a certain way. You don't have to. You can choose to stand your ground, and they're not supposed to discriminate. But at the end of the day, it's hard for a lot of people because they don't want to lose their job because they can't, survive without it and all this other stuff. You just don't understand how America, we think we so free. You're so, we are what people call us, the silly dummies, because we don't do research. We don't do anything. We don't do anything to better our situation. We just complain. Enough is enough. I'm not that person that's going to say, oh, with the white man, because I know that every day so-called white people that's right here in the struggle with us don't have any particular power. The only one that really has true power over your person, your body, is you. And once you know the truth about something and you want to stand for something, go, as long as it's not harming somebody, do that. Okay? So they knew what they needed to do to us in order to get us to a certain point where we are where we are and lost. Okay. These are other words that go along with it, and Creole is in here. Let's see, Latin, whatever, come from, spring up, grow, thrive, swell, goddess of agriculture, to bring forth, create, produce, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, so this, you know what? The first thing is all we needed. Anything that's created. So let's go on back to the word. Okay. So when I say this, it should not be so far-fetched for you to see what I'm saying. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature, which could be a ship that hath life, which could be the people that are on it, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And this could be a symbolizing that American eagle that has the I think it's the olive branches in one claw and the arrows binded in the other. There, you can break down. The flag is not just a flag. Go ahead and do the breakdown. Look into what it really was made for. You have to pick through everything. Okay? See what it symbolizes. All that. Because then those people came over here and those bloodlines are still attached to the throne. Even your movie starting to do that little cute stuff. Oh, look who's related to Princess Diana. You don't even see the real thing of this. Meghan Markle, this stuff is fairy tale. They made it all up. A lot of stuff have been planned and in the works for a long time, y'all. And it's not just one outwardly appearance race or people. That hath life and fowl. Okay, and who else? Let me just see. What? No, we're not, because I'll get too sidetracked. I think the fowl does have something to do with the emblem or a crescent or something to have to do with the French. I'm not 100% sure. I think their flag is even very similar to ours with the red, white, and blue. That might fly above the earth, and that is the people that were the real people that were here prior to. That they have hidden your identity and told you that you were from somewhere else. And you're the only people in the world. Africans don't even call themselves Africans. But you're the only one in the world that have to take on that title. Okay? And fly above. And then even if you look at Africa, so-called Africa now, the people that they have in power, which I was doing some reading and were said to be those Moors or some of the people from Spain that had been taken over and they were given these positions. And look at the way that they treat their people in some of these countries over there in Africa that y'all want to go to. They don't even treat their people right. So what you think they're gonna how you think they're gonna treat you? And that's for y'all, all these go back to Africa. I ain't going nowhere. I'm rooted right here. So anyways, again, this goes along with what I was saying, that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. Period. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth. And again, I don't know, did we look at, And I was wondering, why were we using the term whales instead of something else? A whale pursues the business of whale fishing. Um, okay, from whale. Whale fishing is attested from 1570. A whale animal or uh, mammalian, excuse me, mammalian order whale, also walrus, from uh, Proto-Germanic, Swedish, blah blah blah, um, uh, Saxon, Old High German. Oh, but you know what? There is a whale on one of these people's coat of arms. Uh, I'm not sure. A kind of large sea fish and popular use applied to a large sea animal. Phrase whale of an excellent or large example. Student slang whale, whale, beat, whip, uh, severely. To mark with whales or stripes from whaling, whale fishing, whalebone. Um, wait, a person of 1806 of a boat. Look at that. Look at that. A whaler. A person. Wait, of a person. 1806. Of a boat. So for me, since we're all in this whole thing and these are the related entries, I'll take that. A boat. I'll take it because I'm hoping this is doing something and taking you somewhere. Okay. It could all the other things in the ocean, and it could not be what this even like this alternative uncertain origin. Apparently the word for assessment brought to da da da. There's no particular name for okay, the meaning dishonest person who preys on others. Hmm. So these words can be used as different things. And from my, if it were my opinion in this case, that's what we're talking about. And God created whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly. Now, the only people that have been said to have been documented to come here in the millions are the Slavic people or other immigrants or foreigners that have come here from different places. And a lot of people will hear these stories that, oh, my grandmother came here when she was 12 or 14 to start a new life. And go ahead and look at the foundlings. I think it's called the foundlings. And it's about these children in the early 1800s, I believe, that were taken from all over places, all over the world, and brought into places in the truckloads. Where their parents are, what happened to them, I don't know. But these people, these children were brought here into other places in the world and sold off. They would just come, people would just come to the train station and pick up these kids, pick up these children. And if you are, we won't go there in here. We won't go there in here. So I'm wondering, why couldn't these people have children that came here? Why why couldn't they have why did they have to get these other foundlings or these children from all over the world? Look it up, it's a real thing. So, um, and God created the great whales and every living creature that moveth with the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. So then you were established. You had your might. You had your whole thing established. This book is not as old as you think it is, and it's talking about what I'm talking about more than likely. But everybody has their own opinion, and you're welcome to yours. Um, and they brought them in after their kind. And they're still doing it today. And you wonder why the American Negro, the people that actually were the people that were set apart over here in our own place called the Americas, this is the only continent really that is surrounded by water. Now, I don't know, that's just sticking out to me because of something that I read in the scripture, but maybe we'll go into that too. Let me write that down. All those other places that you're calling continents over there are all connected to each other, first of all. And then then those places are uh surrounded by water. But the Americas, and I mean, if you just go ahead and remove the term Canada and South America and Mexico, but everything is touching, you have this is still the Americas to me, prior to them putting their own separating the land and putting their own mark on it and starting to move things around and stuff. Louisiana was not where Louisiana is today. Just like that Israel was not where it is today. So you are looking to the wrong people, and a lot of you are going over here to travel to the wrong place when everything you need to know is probably right here underneath our nose. So after their kind, or their kin, even you can look at it that way. And every wing fowl after its kind, and God saw that it was good. And okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop there. I'll be right back. I'm trying to change the time so it's not like really long videos. So I will be back with number 4 after this, and number 4 will be the final one, and I'm hoping it's even shorter than this one. So